Hey everyone, I'm Alex Williams and you're watching the weekly update with Funagain Games for the week of September 18th, 2016. Today we've got a full list of pre-orders including some really exciting stuff coming from Essen, and we have a fun new game of the week. Alright, let's get to that pre-order list that I mentioned, including a ton of new games coming straight from Essen. Star Wars X-Wing brings us a brand new wave of ships, including the Upsilon-class shuttle, Sabine's TIE Fighter, Quad Jumper, and two new ships from this December's Rogue One, the TIE Striker and the U-Wing. In Deus, Egypt, you are now the head of an extraordinary ancient civilization, Egypt. This first expansion for Deus adds 96 building cards, 16 for each area of development. Players can use this deck in place of the one in the base game, or swap in one or more groups of 16 cards for those in the base game. Each group of 16 cards delivers a new set of rules and strategies. Can you lead this dynasty to expand and impose itself upon the surrounding lands? The 2015 SDJ nominee is back with a brand new addition. The game, On Fire, adds even more fun to one of the most addictive games to come out in recent years. In the game On Fire, 1 to 5 players work together to try and discard 98 cards into 4 different piles while never telling each other exactly what cards they're holding. Adding fuel to the fun are the new On Fire cards, which must be played on when they hit the table. If you like the game, you'll love the challenge the game On Fire brings. With 5 mini-cards and 156 full-size cards, the first deluxe expansion to the Arkham Horror living card game, the Dunwich Legacy, challenges you to find the missing professors and launches you into a campaign that leads to Miskatonic University, the notorious Clover Club, and beyond. 5 new investigators arrive to offer their services, armed with 59 new player cards that allow you to pursue new deck-building strategies and new styles of play. Finally, you'll find all manner of new terrors arrayed against you, from backroom thugs and bad luck to arcane hexes and wholly unnatural abominations. Cryptozoic brings us Ghostbusters the Board Game 2, which features an original story by Ghostbusters comic writer Eric Burnham, in which the Ghostbusters investigate mood slime that has flooded the city, creating earthquakes and riots in another attempt to bring back Vigo and his minions. In line with the story, the map tiles in the game depict buildings destroyed by earthquakes and fires, as well as collapsed streets that expose sewers infested with slime, tunnels with derailed subway cars, and ghost trains. Also available for pre-order are the first 2 expansions, Slimer's Sea Fright and Louis Tully's Plasm Phenomenon. Now let's talk about some pre-orders coming from this year's Essen. Morpheus is a game for 2 to 4 players in which players will create dreams. During their turn, players roll dice to get gifts that they can then assign to dreams in order to complete them. The board is randomly assembled from tiles, and Dreamweavers will go a full circle from location to location. Players who create the most powerful dreams and collects the most victory points wins the game. Kepler 3042 is a resource management game in which you have to explore, colonize, exploit, and terraform the planets of the Milky Way using the available technologies. Each round, you must choose which action to perform and which bonus to activate, managing your supplies of matter, energy, and antimatter. Each player has a finite amount of matter, energy, and antimatter that they can produce or spend during the game. In each round, they can decide to burn 1 or more resources to perform powerful actions, thereby allowing them to follow different strategies. In Key to the City London, each player aims to develop their own London borough based around their home tile, using the large hexagonal location tiles. Each location tile gives victory points and may generate resources. Connectors and skill tiles can be used to upgrade location tiles for additional victory points and productivity. The player with the most victory points wins. In Tramways, you take the role of one of the managers of the local clinic who were fired last month when it was discovered that you had acquired wealth on the backs of patients and their poor health. You are now at the head of a team of engineers ready to build the best and most effective network possible for Small City. Your aim is to find the best places between buildings and citizens so that they can use your networks. In Unusual Suspects, one player is the witness and other players play part of the investigative team. The witness knows the real identity of the guilty and tries to make the team hit it with only his answers. The team asks the witness questions and, depending on his answers, will exclude the innocent suspects after players have discussed what they've learned. Also available for pre-order is the first expansion, Unusual Suspects Burn After Playing, in which you can add 55 new unusual faces and 90 new questions to the base game. Microworld is a challenging game for 2 players. On your turn, you place a tile next to the tile your opponent has placed on the previous turn. Special tokens on the board can be collected and used anytime as a special action. You score points for your own tiles in the neighborhood, and at the end of the game, you score for a majority in each area of the Microworld. In Dungeon Rush, players are adventurers rushing through a perilous dungeon to root out evil, earning coins and improving their abilities along the way. After 3 levels, they face the Dungeon Lord and the Dragon. In Vikingdoms, players are Viking warriors who plunder islands for valuable loot, namely shields and coins. In certain cases, they also obtain captives and even allies. The player who first builds a kingdom with military strength or wealth wins the game. Don't forget that all Essen pre-orders are fulfilled by our Essen Air service, which you can read about in the description box below, or by watching any of our Countdown to Essen videos. Now, let's talk about what's new in stock. Mix and Match Robbers is a fast-paced matching game for young players who help Commissioner Badger with telling apart the 27 shady characters. Challenge rival students to become the best in class in Arcane Academy, an innovative board game of tile-linking wizardry for 2 to 4 players that pits young spellcasters against one another in a duel for honor and prestige. Forge potent magic items and wield wickedly powerful elemental energies to outthink and outmaneuver your opponents in this elegantly simple and quick-to-learn board game that will appeal to families and experienced players alike. In The Godfather: A New Dawn, players take control of one of the major mafia families, each trying to assert their power on the streets of 1950s New York in hope of taking the reins as the new kingpin of the criminal world. With multiple ways to use each die you roll, players never find themselves at the mercy of the dice, instead using what they roll to make their opponents beg for mercy. Exposed is a quick 2 to 6 player game in which you're a thief who has snuck aboard a boat party with the aim of stealing as many wallets as you can without anyone exposing who you are. If you steal enough wallets, or you're the last player left unexposed, you win. Beings of ancient evil known as Old Ones are threatening to break out of their cosmic prison and awake into the world. Everything you know and love could be destroyed by chaos and madness. Can you and your fellow investigators manage to find and seal every portal in time? Hurry before you lose yourself to insanity. In Pandemic Reign of Cthulhu, you'll experience the classic Pandemic gameplay with a horrific twist that'll have you face 10 Old Ones, each threatening the world with their unique powers. Alright everyone, let's get to our list of bestsellers. Number 5 this week goes to Scythe. Imhotep jumps back onto the list in number 4. Our third bestseller is the Takenoko Chibi's Collector Edition. The Networks finally drops to number 2 after weeks of being on number 1. And in the number 1 spot this week is the Scythe Invaders from Afar pre-order. While empires rise and fall in Eastern Europa, the rest of the world takes notice. 2 distant factions, Albion and Togawa, send emissaries to scout the land and employ their own distinct styles of conquering. Scythe Invaders from Afar, an expansion for Scythe, adds 2 new factions, 10 miniatures, 62 custom wooden tokens, and 2 faction mats. It also includes some new cardboard tokens, 2 new player mats, 6 Automa cards, and a custom plastic insert designed to fit into the expansion box or the original Scythe box. That's it for our lists this week, so now we arrive at our new game of the week, which gets players thinking artistically about a bunch of junk. In junk art, players are presented with junk from which they must create art. Junk art contains more than 10 game modes along with more than 60 big, colorful wooden components. In one version of the game, players pile all of the wooden parts in the center of the table, then are dealt a number of cards with each card depicting one of these parts. On a turn, a player presents their left-hand neighbor with 2 cards from their hand. This neighbor takes 1 card in hand, then takes the part shown on the other card and places it on their base or on other parts that they've already placed. If something falls, it stays on the table and the player continues to build on whatever still stands. Once players have finished playing cards, whoever has the tallest work of art wins. Alright everyone, that is it for this update video. Remember that Essen starts October 13th, so get your pre-orders in so that you can get the games that you want as soon as possible after the convention. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next week for more lists and another new game of the week. If you have any questions or comments about any of the games in this video or about Funagain Games, please leave them in the comments section below or send us an email at cs_general@funagain.com. As always, don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and now you can follow our blog on boardgamegeek.com if you prefer to see our updates there. Please subscribe to our channel right here on YouTube and like, comment, and share our videos so that we can keep bringing you unboxings, weekly updates, and much, much more.